ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you today to speak about a simple truth. Once you start, you'll never go back. It sounds like a bold claim, doesn't it? But let me take you on a journey where that simple truth will transform your life. And I'm not talking about something fleeting or shallow. I'm talking about a commitment to your growth, your dreams, and the life you want to build. You see, the hardest part of any journey is taking that first step. It's so easy to stand still, frozen by fear, unsure of what lies ahead. Maybe it's the fear of failure. Maybe it's the fear of the unknown. But let me tell you, fear is a liar. It tricks you into thinking that the cost of action is greater than the cost of inaction. But once you break through that fear, once you dare to take that first step, everything changes. You'll realize that the fear you once felt is nothing compared to the strength you find along the way. Adversity is where you will truly discover your strength. When life gets hard, we have two choices: we can retreat or we can rise. I've seen countless stories of people who were told they couldn't, yet they proved everyone wrong. Challenges are not your enemy. They are the very things that bring out the best in you. Without hardship, we would never know what we're capable of. Embrace the challenges. They are shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. Now, commitment is where the magic happens. There's a difference between starting something and truly committing to it. Starting is easy. Anyone can start. But when you make the decision to stick with it, to fight through the tough days, to keep going when everyone else has given up, that's when you change your life. Your commitment to something bigger than yourself has the power to transform not just your world, but the world around you. Your actions today will ripple out, affecting people in ways you can't even imagine. And when those ripples start, you'll realize that growth happens outside your comfort zone. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. You cannot grow if you stay where it's safe, where it's familiar. The discomfort you feel when you push your limits is a sign that you are on the right track. So don't shy away from the discomfort. Don't run from the challenge. Embrace it, because that's where your true potential lies. The greatest regret in life is not that you failed, it's that you never tried. Time will pass no matter what, and at the end of it all, the question won't be what could I have achieved, but why didn't I start? I want you to think about that for a moment. If you don't start now, you'll be left wondering what could have been. Don't live a life of regrets. Live a life where you can look back and know that every effort, every step, every setback was worth it. Once you start, you will never go back. So I encourage you to start today. Take that first step. And no matter what comes, keep moving forward. The journey ahead is worth every single moment, every drop of sweat, every tear, and every victory. Because once you start, you won't just look back, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. The power of first steps is something we often underestimate. We stand on the edge of something new, looking at the unknown, and all of a sudden fear creeps in. We ask ourselves, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if this doesn't work out? But let me tell you, this fear is a natural part of the process, and it doesn't mean you're not ready. In fact, that fear is a sign that you're about to grow, that you're on the brink of something bigger than what you can see right now. It's the very thing that pushes you to take action. The real question is, are you willing to move forward despite the fear? Starting something new can feel terrifying. It's like standing at the foot of a mountain, knowing that the climb is going to be hard, and yet you're unsure if you have what it takes to make it to the top. We all have moments like this. It could be starting a new job, chasing a dream, changing a habit, or even beginning a relationship. The doubt starts swirling. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? And here's the truth, you will never feel fully prepared to begin. If you wait for the fear to disappear, if you wait until you feel 100% ready, you might be waiting forever. But here's the secret: starting is not about being ready, it's about deciding to take that first step. The moment you choose to step forward, something incredible happens. That first step is where all the possibilities begin to unfold. It's where courage is born. It's not about having all the answers or knowing how it will turn out. It's about having enough faith in yourself to move forward, even when everything seems uncertain. And the beauty of it is that with each step you take, the path becomes clearer. Think about it, every single person who has achieved anything remarkable didn't have all the answers when they started. They were scared, they were unsure. But they chose to begin anyway. They didn't wait for the perfect moment or for the fear to vanish. They moved forward despite the doubts. They knew that every step they took would bring them closer to where they needed to be. And in the process, they would become the person they were meant to become. What if I told you that the fear you feel is not a roadblock, but a sign that you're pushing against your comfort zone? It's easy to stay in a place where everything is familiar, where nothing challenges you, but that's not where growth happens. Growth happens when you move beyond what feels safe, when you take that first step into the unknown. The path ahead might be tough, and you might stumble along the way, but that's part of the process. Every mistake, every challenge, every setback is an opportunity to learn and get stronger. It's in those moments that you discover what you're really made of. Adversity has a way of showing up in our lives when we least expect it, often when we feel the most vulnerable, the most unprepared. It comes in many forms: the loss of a job, a personal setback, a health scare, or a dream that seems to slip through our fingers. And in those moments, it's easy to think that the world is against us, that the weight of everything is simply too much to bear. But what if I told you that adversity is not your enemy, but rather one of your greatest allies? When we face difficulty, we often focus on the pain of it. We see it as an obstacle, a challenge we wish we could avoid, and understandably so. But what if we could shift our perspective? What if we saw adversity as the very thing that forges our strength, as the fire that tempers the steel of who we are? Because here's the truth: it is through the most difficult moments that we find the strength we never knew we had. Think about the times in your life when you faced hardship. In those moments, you probably didn't feel strong. You might have felt defeated, helpless, and unsure of how to move forward. But as time passed, you discovered something incredible. You kept going. You didn't give up. You found resilience within yourself that you never thought was possible. In the face of adversity, you grew stronger, not because the circumstances changed, but because you changed. You learned how to fight, how to endure, how to rise above the challenges that tried to hold you down. And through that struggle, you became someone more capable, more determined, and more powerful than you were before. I want you to understand something important: adversity does not define you. It does not have the final say in your story. What defines you is how you respond to it. It's how you choose to rise, how you choose to keep moving forward, even when it feels like the world is pushing you back. Each time you face adversity and push through, you become more the person you were meant to be. It's like a sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble. Each strike of the chisel is painful. But with every strike, the masterpiece begins to take shape. And the beauty of this process is that strength doesn't come from avoiding hardship, it comes from walking through it. The best versions of ourselves aren't born in comfort, they're born in the fire of difficulty. We only discover what we're truly capable of when we're forced to confront our limits, to push past them, and to rise above them. You've seen it happen in others, and if you look closely, you've seen it happen in yourself. The person who was once afraid of failure becomes someone who welcomes challenges, not because they're invincible, but because they've learned that true strength is built through overcoming what once seemed impossible. There's a saying that goes, pressure creates diamonds. It's a simple statement, but one that holds so much truth. Just like diamonds are formed under intense pressure, our most beautiful qualities are often formed through adversity. Think about the resilience you've built through struggle. Think about the wisdom you've gained from mistakes and setbacks. You are not weaker for having faced difficulty. You are stronger, more prepared, and more capable. Commitment is a word we hear often, but we rarely stop to think about the true power it holds. We live in a world that prizes convenience, instant gratification, and the ability to change directions quickly. But there is something profoundly transformative about choosing to commit to something, even when the path is not easy, even when the outcome is uncertain, and even when the world around us seems to be pulling us in 1,000 different directions. Commitment is not about starting something and walking away when things get tough. It's not about dabbling in a goal or pursuing something half-heartedly. No, commitment is about going all in, about deciding that this is something you believe in so deeply, something that matters so much to you that no obstacle, no setback, no challenge will convince you to stop. Commitment is not just a decision, it's a declaration that you are willing to do whatever it takes to see it through, regardless of how difficult the journey may be. When you commit to something, you are making a promise to yourself that you will keep going no matter what. That promise gives you strength in the moments of doubt, energy in times of exhaustion, and resolve when everything seems to be falling apart. Because here's what commitment does: it builds a foundation for you to stand on, a foundation that cannot be shaken by fear, by failure, or by anything else that life throws your way. When you are committed, you move with purpose even when the road ahead is unclear. You don't need to know every step of the journey because you have faith in your commitment to see you through. There's an incredible shift that happens when you make the choice to truly commit. You stop focusing on what you don't have and start focusing on what you can do. You stop making excuses and start finding solutions. And in that shift, you tap into a power within yourself that you never knew existed. When you commit, you transform from someone who is just hoping for success into someone who is determined to create it. You begin to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes a stepping stone. And each day of dedication brings you one step closer to your goal. Commitment also teaches us the power of consistency. It's easy to start something with excitement, but it's the consistency of effort over time that leads to real transformation. The magic isn't in the bursts of energy we have at the beginning, but in the everyday decision to keep going. When you commit, you're not just committing to the end result, you're committing to the process, to the small, seemingly insignificant steps that, when added together, create something extraordinary. Consistency turns effort into progress, and progress turns dreams into reality. True commitment isn't just about doing something once, it's about choosing to show up every day, even when it's hard. And this is where the magic happens. When you decide that no matter what happens, you will keep moving forward, you unlock the potential to achieve things that once seemed impossible. What you're really committing to is growth, to becoming the person who can achieve the very things you once thought were out of reach. And as you commit to this growth, something else happens. Your confidence begins to grow. You start believing in yourself, not because things are always easy, but because you've proven to yourself that you can handle the hard stuff. You've walked through the challenges and you've come out stronger on the other side. Commitment transforms you. It turns doubt into determination. It turns fear into fuel. It turns potential into reality. When you commit, you step into your true power, the power that comes from knowing that no matter how difficult the journey may be, you will never quit. You will never stop. You will keep going because you have made a promise to yourself that nothing will stand in your way. And in doing so, you will find the strength, resilience, and courage to achieve things beyond your wildest dreams. Every action you take, no matter how small it may seem at the time, sends ripples out into the world. Imagine you're standing at the edge of a pond, throwing a stone into the water. At first, there's a small splash, just a single point of impact. But then, almost immediately, ripples begin to spread outward, touching the surface far beyond where the stone landed. And that's exactly what happens when you take action in your own life. The choices you make, the things you do, and even the words you say have far-reaching effects that you might never fully see, but they are there making an impact. When we act with purpose, when we step into our power and do the right thing, those ripples spread far beyond us. You might not realize it, but the way you carry yourself, the way you interact with others, and the way you face challenges influences the world around you. A simple act of kindness can inspire someone else to do the same. A word of encouragement can lift someone who's struggling. A decision to keep going, even when things get tough, can inspire others to keep going too. Your actions, both big and small, create waves that move through the world, often in ways you can't even imagine. Think about the moments in your life when someone did something for you that made all the difference. Maybe it was a kind word when you were down, a gesture of support when you were struggling, or someone simply believing in you when you couldn't believe in yourself. These are the moments that stay with us, the moments that shape us, and often those who took those actions had no idea how deeply they impacted us. They just acted from a place of kindness, of strength, or of determination. And in doing so, they created a ripple that changed the course of our own journey. This is the power of your actions. You might never see the full extent of the impact you're making, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. Every time you choose to act with integrity, every time you step out of your comfort zone, every time you rise up in the face of adversity, you're creating a ripple that influences those around you, and often it spreads beyond what you could ever fathom. One small action can lead to a chain reaction, a series of events that changes lives, shifts perspectives, and even alters the course of history. Think about the leaders and change makers in our world, people who started with a simple idea, a small act of courage, or a belief in something greater than themselves. They took a step and it set off a series of events that changed the world. But here's the thing, they weren't special because of their circumstances, they were special because they took action. They understood that even a single act of courage, even a single step toward their goals, could create a ripple that would grow beyond their control. Growth doesn't happen in the places where we feel safe and comfortable. In fact, if we're always in our comfort zones, we are often stuck in a cycle of repetition, never stretching ourselves beyond the limits we've created for ourselves. The truth is, comfort zones are not where growth lives. Growth requires discomfort, it requires uncertainty, and it requires us to step into the unknown with the belief that we are capable of more than we can currently see. It's easy to think that growth happens when everything is perfect, when we have all the right circumstances, the right tools, and the right people around us. But the reality is, growth happens when we take risks, when we face challenges, and when we push ourselves to do the things that scare us. It's when we choose to take a step forward, even though we don't have all the answers, that we start to unlock the potential within us. Every time you stretch beyond what you know, you expand your capacity to handle more. It's like a muscle. If you want to get stronger, you have to challenge it, you have to push it to its limit, and even beyond it. The same is true for your mind, your heart, and your spirit. When you step outside your comfort zone, you give yourself the opportunity to learn new things, to gain new perspectives, and to develop a deeper understanding of who you truly are. In those moments of discomfort, when you're faced with uncertainty, that's when you begin to realize that you are capable of so much more than you thought possible. Think of the moments in your life when you felt like giving up, when things seemed too difficult or too overwhelming, but instead of retreating, you chose to move forward. Those moments shaped you. Those moments shaped you. Those moments were the turning points that turned potential into reality. Growth is born in moments of struggle. It's born in moments when we feel the fear, when we feel the doubt, but we choose to take action anyway. Those are the moments that define us. They show us that we are not defined by our circumstances or our comfort zones. We are defined by our willingness to grow, to push past the barriers, and to embrace the challenge. It's important to remember that growth is not a straight line. There will be setbacks. There will be times when you stumble. There will be times when you feel like you're not making progress at all. But that's part of the process. Every step forward, no matter how small, is still a step toward becoming the person you are meant to be. So don't be afraid to fall. Don't be afraid to fail. Instead, embrace those moments because they are the proof that you're stepping outside the comfortable, predictable patterns you've lived in and you're reaching for something bigger, something greater. When you venture beyond your comfort zone, you also open yourself up to new opportunities that would never have existed if you had stayed where you were. It's only when you take that leap into the unknown that you open the door to new experiences, new people, and new possibilities. The people you meet, the lessons you learn, and the challenges you overcome along the way will shape you into a person who is unafraid to keep growing no matter what. At the end of the day, growth beyond your comfort zone is about becoming the person you are truly meant to be, the person who is resilient, adaptable, and capable of achieving things that once seemed out of reach. It's about having the courage. As we move forward in life, it's crucial to remember that the choices we make today shape the person we will become tomorrow. Living a life without regrets doesn't mean avoiding mistakes or seeking a path without challenges. It means choosing to live with purpose, to take bold steps, and to embrace the moments that make life worth living. It's about being courageous enough to take risks even when the outcome is uncertain, and trusting that every step you take, every decision you make will lead you to where you're meant to be. So don't wait for the perfect moment or the ideal circumstances to start living the life you dream of. Start now, right where you are. Take that first step, face the discomfort, push beyond the limits of your comfort zone, and never let fear or doubt keep you from becoming the person you're destined to be. In the end, it's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about embracing them, learning from them, and knowing that each one is a step closer to the life without regrets that you deserve to live.